Hey guys, it's Tony from the Sprinkle Factory, and today I'm going to show you how to calibrate your Eddie printer with your sprinkle tray. I recommend everybody go ahead and calibrate their Eddie to their tray when they first get their tray, even if you don't intend to use the grid cling right away, because while the tray is going to take care of making sure your prints are the same every time, it's important to tell the printer where on the tray we want to print. It really takes the guesswork out of our prints completely. The first thing we need to do is apply the grid cling to the sprinkle tray. First, peel off the backing of the grid cling and then apply it to the very front edge of the tray, lining it up as absolute best as you can. This is the time you want to be picky. Next, we'll apply the tray to the magnetic cover and head on over to the computer. We're going to complete the calibration by using Eddie's print dialog and a series of calibration files we've prepared for you. You can download these files just below the video. The first thing I'm going to do is go to the print dialog and check that I have cookie centering scan turned off. You'll want to do that on the third tab underneath the advanced option, and it's right up top. You'll notice that I'm printing these straight from preview on a Mac. I'm not using any sort of software. It really doesn't matter where you print them from, as long as you can change the page size in the print dialog. All right, let's get started calibrating. I have the print dialog pulled up here, and on it you'll see that there's this handy little chart for how to adjust the offsets, as well as I have all of my calibration files pulled up right above. Each of the files is labeled with a step, so you'll know which one to print in which order. However, we also included this calibration guide, which doesn't need to be printed on your Eddie, but it's more of just a reference point so you can see what we're shooting for as we calibrate these files by printing them on the tray. So I'm just going to go ahead and open it up and keep it here on the side. Next, we'll open up step 1, which is our pink square in our first calibration print. This one also includes the plus or minuses, so we can print them directly on the tray, which will help us adjust our numbers here in a minute. While it may not look like there's a background on this file, it actually was saved with an outside border, so that way when we go to print this file and we set it to the correct size, it will match our tray. So in order to print this file, I'm going to head up to File and select Print, and then I just need to adjust a few settings. First, I want to make sure that I'm on the correct printer, of course. And second, I want to set that page size to match the tray, which is 4.5 by 4.5. Third, I want to deselect Auto Rotate because I want everything to be orientated correctly. And then we hit Print and send to Eddie. After pressing load on the top of Eddie, he's going to get started printing our light pink square as well as our calibration plus and minuses, which is really helpful to have on the tray. Having the plus and minuses right on the tray makes it super easy to orientate the adjustments we need to make, whether it be horizontal, vertical, plus, or minus. Now let's take a look at our main pink square. You can see that it's forward too far by about 1 square. Which brings me to another cool point about this grid. Each of these squares accounts for about 6 millimeters, which comes in really handy at estimating our adjustments we need for the offsets. Matter of fact, let's make those adjustments. So over here in the print dialog, you'll see that they have the chart as well as a location to make your adjustments to the right. I want to point out that I'm not sure if this was a mistake, but Primera has them flipped. So on the left, you'll see horizontal on top, but on the right, you'll see horizontal on bottom. I have definitely made the mistake of correcting the wrong one because of this. It's also important to note that the increments are set at 1/10 of a millimeter. So if you want to move 1 millimeter, you'll need to move your value by 10. So since my pink square was too far forward by about 6 full millimeters, I can already estimate that I'm going to have to move my vertical value by 60. But just for this process, so you guys can see the full process, I'm going to actually only move it by 10 for now, and let's see what happens. And since I'm trying to move it towards the plus, I'm going to add 10 to the value set in the vertical and then click set. You'll want to make sure that your machine did set the changes. It typically changes colors afterwards, but sometimes I'm not sure if it actually communicated with the machine. So here's a little trick I use. I like to flip between the two tabs, and when I come back, if it's the same number, I know it's actually set. And then we can close our first step and open our second step, which is of course the yellow square. We're going to go back up to File, Print, and we're going to repeat the same process, setting it to 4.5, turning off auto rotate, and then printing. Eddie's going to do his little pre-print dance. I'm going to press load, and then he's going to get started printing this yellow square, which again isn't super dark, but you'll be able to see it on your tray. And just as we expected, it looks like he moved towards the back of the tray about 1 millimeter. In person, it's definitely much easier to see, but you can see at the top here, it's just yellow, and at the bottom, there's still a light pink line where the print is shifted. To get our yellow square closer to where we want on the tray, I'm going to go ahead and increase my vertical value even more, getting us closer to my original estimate of about 60. And then I'm actually going to adjust my horizontal just a little bit because I could see a little bit of white on the right side there. Then I'm going to set it again and open up my next step, which is the blue square, and follow the same steps to print. And once I hit load on the top of Eddie, it will begin to print my blue square. Hey, there you go. We're getting pretty close. There is just a little bit of space still at the top of the blue square that I could probably perfect. And it looks like I overcorrected on my horizontal a bit, so I'll change that. But I'm already pretty happy with where we're at. We're on track to get great cookie prints. This is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and bump this up just a little more to close in that gap. And then horizontally from side to side, I think I'm going to take back a little because I think I overcorrected it, but we are really splitting hairs here. All right, and we're almost there. It's time to print our final square, which is our purple square. We're just going to go back to the print option and repeat the same steps. And of course, after pressing load, Eddie will print our final purple square. Which looks like printed right where we wanted. If you take a close look at the upper corner, you can see that the purple filled in the white space that was there, which is great. Honestly, we're great where we're at. But I'm going to go ahead and rinse off my tray and print the remaining 2 files we have, which will really just confirm and fine tune that our calibration is where we want it. And you'll notice instead of our squares with these final 2 steps, we're going to switch things up with a plus sign in the center of our tray. First, we're going to print the pink one using the same steps, of course. While the squares get us really close to that nice center print, these plus signs in the center of the tray, they end on a different spot where the line is less thick, and they really allow you to see exactly where it's printing, and we can make the very smallest of adjustments, which I'm actually going to adjust a tiny bit just to get this perfect. I'm actually just going to change my horizontal value just a tiny bit, and then you can see how small of a shift this is. And then we'll send this final purple plus to the printer. And Eddie is printing our final purple plus. Let's see how he did. If you look closely, you can see the purple goes all the way to the left side. It moved ever so slightly and it looks great. I'm thrilled with this calibration. We are done. And it's your turn.